Thank you again for the second time today for having me at the conference, and thank you all for coming to hear what you probably thought was going to be the ARMA talk, but it's the SolGold talk. Robert's got some extremely important meetings in Brisbane to attend to, so he'll be here tomorrow. So SolGold is one of the DGR stable companies. We are looking for, and I'm happy to say finding with increasing reliability, high-grade and extensive porphyry copper-gold mineralisation in northern Ecuador, and I'm going to tell you all about that. Read that, absorb it, very important. Now, SolGold is all about Cascabel. It's our core project and the real focus of the company. That's mainly because it's on the Andean copper belt in northern Ecuador. It's part of the Andean copper belt that has been underexplored as a result of access difficulties in the past in the country, and the recent emergence of some very good geotechnical programs has enabled that zone to be unlocked. We have motivated and well-invested management. I have a lot of money personally invested in SolGold, and that dedication of our staff and the fantastic techniques that we're using and the advances in geophysics has led to some spectacular intersections. They're world-class. We're talking about kilometres of intersections in some of these drill holes, and we've now earned 85% of this project, and we're the operator of it. And I'm pleased to tell you that our exploration manager and country manager, Jason Ward, has just arrived here from Ecuador, and he'll be at the booth later to answer any of your questions. We are looking at directional drilling and extra drilling rigs this year to speed up the intersections in this ore body, and we expect about a 12-month program to get to a high-grade 80 million tonnish type high-grade core to a much larger porphyry ore body in this area, and there's a number of other targets in the area too that we're also working on. So SolGold now has 760 million shares on issue, a market cap equal to about $39 million Australian. We're listed on AIM, London Stock Market Exchange. We turn over about 3 million shares a night or a day if you're in London. It's very liquid, it's easy to get in and out of, and if you apply the buy low, sell high strategy to make money, now is a very good time to be buying them, in my view, but take your own advice, of course. We're an experienced board of explorationists. We're experienced operating exploration projects in all sorts of remote terrains, and the most difficult of those was in the Solomon Islands, and we carried that off with aplomb, and we still have projects there. We're getting growing interest in this company and this project. There's a number of majors looking at the project at the moment, and I can assure you that we won't be letting control of this go lightly or cheaply, because our aim is to re-rate SolGold in the same sort of fashion as those three examples you see on the bottom of the screen there. Imperial Minerals, Reservoir and Intrepid all gave 600 million to over $1 billion market caps as re-ratings as a result of major porphyry copper gold discoveries, and that's what we believe we are on track to deliver in SolGold. SolGold owns 85% of ENSA, the local Ecuadorian holding company. We also own 11% of the other shareholder in ENSA, a TSX company called Cornerstone, and ENSA owns 100% of the Cascabel project and tenure. Ecuador is increasingly mining friendly. There's a number of rolling changes to the fiscal regulations, tax laws, the Mining Act, the access and operating rules there, and they've just appointed a new mines minister for a brand new mining focused department. There's a lot of effort going in to making Ecuador more and more mining friendly. So much so that Lundin Mining, who are known for being opportunists and seeing when there's a good trend around, have invested about $240 million into the Fruta del Norte project in southern Ecuador, and they intend to be developing that into an operating high-grade gold mine. So it's a country going ahead. It's a great place to work. We're really enjoying it, It's going to deliver a lot of value for our shareholders and us. This is the northern part of the Andean copper belt, and I want to draw your attention to the Carnegie Ridge, which in the lower left part of the screen there is what's subducting underneath the Andean plate. Because it's thick, it floats up high, it distills slowly, it's got lots of copper and gold in it, and it distills into some quite rich, well-oxidised ore bodies that are rich in copper and gold, and that is why Ecuador is a real focused destination for our exploration effort in South America. Now, Chile is known for its porphyry copper projects. However, most of them are high and dry. They have huge infrastructure imposts on them, lots of capex required to put in roads, power lines, water systems. You need oxygen tanks sometimes to breathe up there, and every now and then somebody drops dead because there's just not enough air to breathe. So it's not a great place to be looking, especially if you're a junior, and there's not a lot of them that are very gold rich. So in Ecuador, these projects are much lower down, but they're covered in vegetation and cloud, and they're hard to see. In Chile, there was a lot of exposure and a lot of early mining projects set up and a well-established mining industry, and that is why there were a lot of large deposits found there, and they're the blue blobs. They're in 2 or 3 different age groups. And we found the purple one there in the middle in Ecuador, and we expect a lot more purple blobs and very big ones to turn up on this map on this chart as it evolves in the future. We have the advantage now of fantastic geophysical systems that can see through the cloud and the vegetation cover, and that's what's helping us to identify a project where no one saw it before. There is certainly a lot of gold in these systems. They're very rich in gold as well as the copper that comes from them, and it's now part of history. The Incas found a whole heap of this stuff, and the conquistadores and the Spaniards used it. So it adorns the churches and the public buildings all through Ecuador, and it's testimony to a small but emergent mining industry in Ecuador that we believe will turn into a very big one. This project has, as a result of the infrastructure that has been put in place in Ecuador from oil royalties, of having port, power, people and transport all close and handy. That's going to save billions of dollars when it comes to developing this project. And here's a photograph of some of the roads. You probably thought I was talking about a well-graded dirt track. No, it's a 6-lane highway. So here's some of the people here. Again, Jason Ward, centre, top row. He's managing this project in Ecuador and doing it fabulously. We have some state-of-the-art geotechnical people working on this, and I draw your attention also to Steve Garwin in the lower row there. Lots of Newmont experience. Bato Hijau, one of Newmont's cash cows. So we know what we're looking for, we know how to recognise it, and we're getting the results. We're safe, we're caring, we look after the environment and the local communities, and here's some photographs of some of that activity. We put a lot of time and effort into particularly fish farms and local nurseries in the area. Started this project with a very comprehensive soil geochemical program here, and you can see the early results from that soil work for copper, molybdenum and gold. And this is showing that there's a lot of smoke in this very extensive, intrusive system, and that's the smoke, if you like, that leads us to the fire. Well, here's the spot fires. This is the magnetics. Porphyry systems are characterised by lots of magnetite. Gives you a magnetic signature, and that's generally where the copper minerals are, the bornite and the chalcopyrite. So we focused on the southern one there, Alpala. It was the biggest, it was the most complex and the most anomalous from a geochemical point of view, but there are 4 others that we're going to be looking at there. Alpala itself is 2.5 kilometres from one end of it to the other, and about 500 metres wide beside the Alpala structural zone. Within that, we can see 3 main targets. All of our drilling has been on just the central one, Alpala Central. But look at T1, look at southeast Alpala, down near the Cristal target. These things haven't been touched, but they've got high-grade copper outcropping at surface. Our early drill holes into into Alpala Central gave some world record intersections over 1 kilometre at around about 0.7 copper and 0.8 gold. In hole 5 there was over 500 metres at 1% copper and 1 gram gold. As you'll see in a league table later, these are world record intersections. We do all that with a fantastic drilling operator, Hubbard Drilling, and this is one of his man-portable rigs. These things go to 1,800 metres depth. Drill hole 11, which we've completed, announced the results on, got back into the high grade on the northwestern end of our zone of drilling interest, and we've also found bornite mineralisation. Now, the importance of bornite is it shows that you're getting close to the centre of the copper heart of one of these porphyry copper gold systems, and we started to see some really significant bornite in some of the vein systems in hole 11. And we're now into hole 12, and here's the same stuff again, this time on the southeast side of the system. This thing now appears to be about 450 metres long where we've drilled it, and there are geophysical indications that extend it to the northwest and the southeast and the northeast. So we haven't closed it off yet. We know it's at least 1.8 kilometres from top to bottom, and it probably goes deeper than that. This is a real monster, and it's 100% owned by ENSA, and we own 85% of ENSA. So I like to say that Alpala Central is just the tip of the iceberg, and here's some of the possibilities that might come out of northwest Alpala and down around T2 and the Crystal target. There's a whole string of pearls along the Alpala structural zone. It could be as big as La Colosa in surface area. La Colosa has got 24 million ounces of it in Colombia, same sort of footprint. When you look at the comparison of it with Wafi-Golpu in Papua New Guinea, same sorts of dimensions. That's being developed or about to be developed in Papua New Guinea. We've started to wrap three-dimensional models around our drilling data and starting to see what this thing looks like in 3 dimensions, and it's starting to give us a feel for what the other high-grade cores to some of these targets along the Alpala structural zone might be. And here's some pictures of some of the drill hole penetrations on level plans on the right there, and a leapfrog set of ellipses around the mineralisation on the left. Here's the league table. Our intersections are highlighted there in beige. There's a number of world-famous porphyry copper gold systems that accompany us in this table, and it's testimony to just how important this project is in terms of the global copper gold scene. I'm a geologist. All geologists love looking at great pictures of rocks, and this is some of the best stuff that you'll see in a porphyry copper gold system. As the copper grade goes up, the gold grade goes up faster and disproportionately. So 1.3% copper, nearly 4% gold, the same sort of relationships there. Here's 4% copper, nearly 8 grams gold. You love to mine this stuff underground. Low environmental problems by doing that. So these very high grades is what makes Cascabel really stand out, and you can see there from the red ellipses that we can look at underground mining operations at higher, more enriched grades than a lot of the block cave systems that populate that set of blobs on the lower left there. There's some big names in there. This is similarly going to be a big project, but a very rich one. The topography there is not particularly rugged, not as bad as the Solomon Islands, but it is a very good thing when you're looking at an underground mining development. We'd start with an open cut, which I've got outlined there crudely in blue, and access the high-grade underground stuff either with a decline off the open cut or from the Rocaferte village and put a straight decline in with a conveyor in it. So all sorts of development options here. And we're striving this year to deliver results which will make that an increasingly obvious set of solutions. Faster drilling results, look at all the work that needs to be done to get a resource statement and mining pre-feasibility work done, and then apply the same knowledge base that we have and the same exploration effort to the other targets in Cascabel and throughout some other project areas that we have in Ecuador as well. So That's the team at Rocafuerte Camp and a spectacular core that we got out of drill holes 5 and 9 on the margins of the photo. Thank you very much for coming to hear us. Jason and I will be able to answer your questions later after this session, and thank you very much for coming to hear it.